That period that Bob was talking about, when the Beatles were the toast of the musical world, and we were dancing the twist, you'll remember, and if you were lucky, you learned it at the Peppermint Lounge in New York with Joey D and the Starlighters. And the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution had thrust us just a little deeper into Vietnam. It was 4 years before mankind would first step on the moon. The fall of 1964, a young, wet behind the ears teacher came back from active duty with the U.S. Army Reserves to Albert Einstein High School. And I say young, he was 22, I guess, on December 2nd of that year. And it wasn't more than a week or so afterward, he marched into the principal's office, and he said, "We don't have a soccer team on this high school campus. Why is that?" And the principal replied, "Well, you understand, when you came to us last year, we were only in our second year. Soccer is something that is coming of age in the public school system, but it's been a prep school sport up till now. We don't even have anybody who really wants to start a soccer team." And that crazy, wet behind the ears teacher we're talking about said, "Here, I'll do it." And he said, "Well, I don't even have any money to pay you with it." And he said, "I might be able to scrape together a couple $1,000. Do you think we could buy some uniforms? Could we buy soccer balls? Could we do anything with that?" And the teacher said, "Yes, I think that would probably do it." And he said, "We don't even have any soccer goals." And the teacher said, "That's okay. We'll play all away games." So we advertised for people interested in playing soccer. And when I say on those first couple of days, it was pretty evident that the 20-some young men who came out had never kicked a soccer ball before. I'm not exaggerating. But that team got underway, and things began to gel. Now, we didn't have any opponents because soccer, even then in the public schools, the few public schools who had it, had a fall league. And I said this was already December. But a couple of telephone calls to private schools with soccer goals and soccer fields sufficed. And we did have some very good competition. Of course, the thing that you look for first among the students who come out after you go through the drills and after you go through the exercises is leadership. Because every good team has nothing more or less than a good captain. And as I looked over the choices and the boys who seemed to have a little bit of ability, one stood out. One had leadership. This is long before the day and age of super glue, gorilla glue. This young man knew how to infuse a group of people with ideas, goals, the idea and the sense of accomplishment, and he did so perfectly. And of course, it was Bill Druhan. There were no other candidates for the job. About 40 years went by after graduation. I hadn't seen Bill in those 40 years. Our paths had never crossed. But I was invited to his 40th reunion at Albert Einstein High School. Now, I hadn't forgotten him, don't misunderstand me, because I'm a scrapbook nut. And I had a picture of that first Einstein soccer team in my scrapbook. And of course, he's featured quite prominently there, so I had turned the pages countless times over the years, seen him and thought about it. But there he was, live and lively, at his 40th reunion. It was wonderful to see him again. He told me about having served as mayor in Purcellville. He didn't talk much about his personal achievements, professional achievements, but I could tell right away that he was extremely proud of what he had done here. I know now why. I don't need to tell you about leadership, because he was your leader, and a very accomplished leader he was indeed. I am part of the Albert Einstein Hall of Fame, an athletic endeavor which contributes mightily to scholarship efforts for young men and young women who from that high school are deserving. And in that connection, I served with Bill and worked with him over the last 6 years or so, seeing him and talking with him on the telephone on a fairly regular basis. And how wonderful it was that our paths did cross after all those years. He won't be forgotten at Albert Einstein High School any more than he will ever be forgotten here. Because the most wonderful thing has happened. That Hall of Fame I talked to you about a few minutes ago from Einstein has decided to place his name on a scholarship permitting an outstanding soccer player from the high school every single year to receive tuition assistance to attend college. I know how pleased Bill would be by that. And isn't it wonderful that his name will always be on something at Einstein? While I didn't know that 2 Fridays ago when I last saw Bill, as I took my leave of Bill, I said to him, you know, what you did all of those years ago in forming that team, in leading the way, has made it possible for hundreds of young men to play soccer. And I know that playing soccer isn't the ultimate in anyone's life, but of course it's the conduit for establishing team efforts, leadership, working together to achieve personally and professionally all manner of endeavors in life. And I said, you'll be remembered for that long after you're gone. Hundreds more players will be on that team as a result of what you started. You know, it's not easy to start something that you'll never see lead to anything directly. We knew that that first year would be a year of trial and tribulation, and it was, and several years after, I'm sure, were. But, of course, as he said, yes, it is good to know that. But one of his final thoughts to me that Friday a couple of weeks ago was, I'm just lucky even to be among those people in that Hall of Fame. Well, of course, you and I know he went in by the front door. He was one of the first to be elected to the Hall of Fame. So, we now have something bearing his name in his honor, which helps young people to achieve and attain great things, we hope, in college and subsequently in life. And so we've established that scholarship at Einstein High School in his memory. We, of course, encourage participation by all of his friends, no matter the connection. Einstein will remember Bill Druhan as you do, as someone of the noblest and highest character we can possibly imagine. Someone never afraid to jump in and start something and see it thrive and lead the way to better things for everyone, for always. Thank you.